Governor Edwards' stay-at-home order wasn't immediately followed. It took a couple weeks and a sharp increase in confirmed cases for New Orleans to develop a healthy fear of the virus. But once it was clear that the normal gathering habits of the Big Easy could have deadly consequences, people went into hiding deep inside their homes. Still, the virus crept inside and lived with them, psychologically, in the form of a wide array of stresses. The coronavirus blanketed the earth with an immense and looming anxiety, which amplified our own particular and individual anxieties. Couples were often on edge. Some were thrust into a major trial of their relationship, and, dealing with the new, bizarre reality, people just got weird.
You and your spouse, you're going at it, you know. Sometimes it can be abusive, verbal abuse, or physical abuse. I see that has rise too. Domestic violence, and a lot of relapse going on too. They say a lot of divorces going on because you're really starting to know your significant other now.
Realistically, like I kind of got caught cheating, really, but not cheating. We had multiple conversations. I was sitting here doing what I'm doing now. Next thing you know, I see a whole bunch of white bald heads, mad police, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, who's that? And they're like, we got calls for a domestic disturbance. They were just like, stand up, put your hands behind your back. I was like, you're under arrest. I'm like, you don't even know who I am. Like, why? And basically they said that they got a report of a domestic disturbance.
You know, because this putting a strain. This is not just a physical strain, but a mental strain. Now, I'm
sick of it, but guess what? When I get ready to hop in my car,
see,
I'm gone.
But that's what I'm saying. And that's a scary thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a scary thing.
I lost my sight in my eye and I still go.
Because of her age and because of her pre-existing illness.
We built a fence together.
We did.
We've done a lot of work together, but where we live is a little bit it's not a real cul-de-sac, but it's at the end of a dead-end street, and so we're very closely confined with a couple people next to us, and one of those people has a severe anger management issue.
Well, she has a mental illness as well. It's an actual mental illness.
Well, sure, but I'm not going to diagnose it. It's fine. Let's leave that aside. And we're building a fence.
We really want the fence between us and her.
Turns out she was pissed. She had her sister call from South Carolina and say that she was on the phone with her and heard a loud boom and a scream. Never even spoke to her the entire morning. I was down here with the mimosa. I was ass naked here in the jacuzzi.
You know, we're getting yelled at and every time we leave the house, and so we just end up talking about her all the time and this fence, and it's like, it's very frustrating.
The love is so strong.
We've been married 45 years. You know.
Don't say that no more.
Yeah, we've been married 45 years.
And
she took my dog. She took about, at first I thought it was just $2,300. But then I checked into my savings on my checks.
Because this is like ripe for martyrdom in a fight, you know? Like, my day is worse than yours because I'm doing this and I'm doing that, you know? And I was like, no, let's, catch this. I think we caught it. I caught it, at least in myself, before it kind of got too bad.
I'll be gone.
She'd be running the street, and I'll be in there in front of the television, I'll be in there in front of the television, I'll walk out to the corner, hang out on the corner a little while, back inside,
I know she has thoughts about, having to endure a mood swing that I have, and she's just sort of trapped there with it. Although I'm a little more reserved, I can keep my moods a little more here,
But the virus, it definitely brought problems to my relationship, but in all honesty, it brought it to another level. I mean, it just made me become more self-aware.
Ex-addicts, and by they being inside a lot, they give that's another reason for a lot of people to relapse now, because you're inside all day now. I'm an ex-addict, and I relapse too sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Just to get through the day. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, this is a growth period for me, honestly. But not to say it's easy, because it's hard as a mug. It's lonely, it's depressing. Like, I can't get my oyster po' boys when I want them. I mean, everyone's out of oysters. Like, I don't know what's up with it. Isn't this oyster season? Like, so it's odd. That's actually a really difficult. I don't want to talk about that, but yeah, that's the vibe.
Typically in our relationship, we like give each other more space than this, so that one person can feel one way and the other person doesn't just have to take it on. And it's just hard to do that right now. It's grateful that there's more than one bedroom in the house.
There's a bed in the office.
and 3 other bedrooms. I will say that one of the things that's hard is that I miss being alone.
And you can't even have a funeral. I know 2 people in my family died. We can't go to no funerals and nothing. You can't even go see them. You know what I'm saying? And that's like a strain on people too. You know, I've been raised around people. Close to me, I died, I can't go to their funeral and get my last goodbye to them. So what that gonna do to me? Some people, I'm gonna get these drugs to block it out of my mind. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta remove toxic people from your life.
Disconnected and detached from their community, some singles also endured a strange and sudden loneliness. They were alone at home with their pets, and you could tell because some dogs looked like they would need therapy after quarantine. But mostly, they relied on social technologies, which offered awkward avenues for them to re-engage with friends and uncertain prospects.
I've been trying to watch more porn.
I'm not gonna lie, probably have watched as much porn as I did when I was like 13 years old and subscribed to like OnlyFans pages, like anything to just kind of like pass the time.
It's like making me reflect on like what I'm actually seeking under more normal circumstances, and trying to find like porn that like shows that, I guess. Like,
love during time of Corona has been complicated to say the least, you know? I feel a lot of my friends that were in like maybe relationships before kind of bed down. I mean, everyone's trying to quarantine together, so to speak, right?
Just had a talk right before Mardi Gras, like during Mardi Gras, about moving in together, and by the end of that week he like lived here permanently. So it was like, luckily we kind of already had this conversation. So yeah.
So where do you meet somebody, or do you even try to meet someone right now when there's all these restrictions and rules, you know? Especially about someone like myself that work with my family members, some of the people elderly, don't want to get anybody sick, you know? So yeah, it's definitely extremely complicated.
That's the worst thing in the world, to be by yourself, and it's crazy because all these people that's in their house and they making love, and we're gonna have a population in 9 months. They're gonna have so many people pregnant. They're gonna have a population that's gonna double itself up, you know?
It's been kind of cool. I never really watched that much porn.
I don't know when the next time I'll have sex is, you know, maybe never again. Might possibly never fucking again. That's like a reality. That's honest to goodness.
And I'm trying to watch like really great porn, you know, like porn that's like kind of artistic and like not porn tube or whatever, like people's films. Like I want to see somebody who's putting a little art into it, you know?
For some people, like, they thrive in it. But I'm me being an introvert, extrovert, it's like kind of hard to like not have intimacy, and you don't notice it as much as until you like go out and you see people coupled up, or you see people that have like the opportunity to be with someone else. I think that's the most that makes it present in your brain.
You know, up and downs, man. Up and downs. You know, like I'm a social creature, as everyone knows that comes by. So it's been complicated. Some sad nights. Getting into my music collection pretty hard. You know, like music's always been my therapy. So definitely been up on a lot of heartache songs for sure. You know.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be an emotional ball of sap the next time someone like lets me into their world that way. I'll just be so grateful. I mean, obviously, like I'm an extremely sexual person, so that's like the hardest part, is like being a sexual person and not having an outlet for it.
Thinking about making a porn too, if you're interested in participating when all this is over.
There was a person in the beginning who I was, doing like a little cute virtual date shit with, and that was cool. It's probably something I wouldn't have been open to before this, if somebody was like, you know, why don't we like cook the same recipe together, I would have been like, that's the corniest shit that I've ever heard of, or, you know, like probably wouldn't be open to like those kinds of things, which are kind of cool, like a way to like kind of like connect with someone that's like not present.
Interacting with people and like making that kind of connection is like so much less like possible, or it feels like that. And I know some people are kind of like doing online, like Tinder, like phone calls and stuff, and I'm like not super about that. But so it's kind of just made me just have to like really work on finding a sense of peace with it.
Every single ex that I've ever had, I'm not even fucking with you, has been in contact with me throughout this whole process. So just having conversations in that capacity with someone from your past is enlightening for making you think and process like how you think about relationships.
At this moment, I feel a sense of peace about it.
In general, people were having crazy dreams and not sleeping normally.
Solid dreams, lucid dreaming, a lot of things that need to get worked out in your head, they usually do.
It's kind of weird. I think there's something underlying somewhere, because every night I wake up 2, 3 in the morning, unless I'm wasted. It's like I can't fully sleep. And it's driving me nuts, because like, I can't figure out why. Why I'm waking up, going to bed for 11, waking up 2 or 3. You know, and up for a couple hours before I doze back off again. Then I sleep a couple more hours, and I gotta go to work.
We wake up at 3:30 in the morning. You know, I usually wake up from like a terrible nightmare, very vivid, like everybody else I know.
Insomnia has been our constant companion through all this.
So I've been having a lot of fucked up dreams, and I have recurring ones about tornadoes. And they usually come about when I'm in some sort of emotional turmoil. But one that stuck out the most was I have this watermelon that I want to let ripen, and I'm just concerned that my roommate's not turning it enough, and it just has this jaundiced underbelly. It's just somehow horrifying.
Of course, not everyone experienced discord in their homes. Some people savored their time alone or flourished in their relationships, enjoying the days and nights easing into each other. They surprised themselves by how comfortable they were adapting to the new reality, establishing little rituals that punctuated their daily lives.
I think the biggest effect is that I'm really ashamed of how comfortable I am doing nothing for weeks on end.
I'm pretty much a lifelong bachelor, so I'm okay with being single part. It's just like par for the course a little bit, except, well, you separate from everybody so much now, so you don't even have like your little dates or whatever, and going out and just having dinner. I kind of miss that. Just going out having dinner with friends and having a little fun.
I would say I'm maybe kind of flourishing in it, besides the financial aspect of it. But as far as the emotional and the clarity and also the reset, I felt like that was kind of like a push that everyone kind of needed, that maybe they wouldn't have done it themselves, but since they were forced to, have to make the best of it.
Speak louder.
No, I mean, like, if it weren't for all of this, if it weren't for being stuck in a house, being quarantine partners, like, we probably never would have fallen in love. So.
True that, because you know how many times I seen her at our bar, and she just shut me down so many times, and it didn't hurt my feelings because I seen she's about her business, and she didn't get to see the true me until we're locked in a house together and no one wants to hang out. There's no bars to be open and getting us fucked up. I don't know if we can say fucked up, but I just did it twice.
Yeah, we have, like, there's a lot of numbers, right, on how many people break up or get through divorce, but there's not of numbers on how many people fall in love and the positive effects, because there's not as much quantitative data, right, to follow what it means.
You don't do paperwork to do
that.
that.
Yeah, right, so, yeah.
How's that? Is her hair looking nice? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Son. So really, to break it down, this is the best time to fall in love because you're gonna get the true person and not have what jobs, that kind of craziness. You're not gonna be at the bars. You have your real friends in your face, and it's a beautiful thing.
There's no outside noise.
I've kept myself busy around the house. I've done some building projects. I built stairs, and fish tank stuff takes forever, so I've been building little aquariums and so on. I'm waiting for a bunch of shit in the mail. I'm getting just rocks and driftwood and plants. Next week is gonna be good. Next week is when it all comes together.
It was Jazz Fest in New Orleans, but the fairgrounds were closed. It was crawfish season, but instead of boils, there was just takeout. And that was probably the most visible part of the virus in the city, since the cornerstone of New Orleans culture is the love of community, the love of gathering and rubbing elbows over crawfish, live music, and way too many cold beers. The virus seemed to threaten the most precious part of the Big Easy, its culture of friendly gathering. If you walk down any street in New Orleans, you'll cross paths with several strangers, and all of them will probably greet you the same way. They'll say, "Yeah, you right," or just, "All right." What "yeah, you right" means is what it means to be in New Orleans. It's sharing a civic space with others who share one essential thing in common, a basic sense that New Orleans just feels right. The love of community is perhaps the most integral part of the Big Easy's culture. But people stopped saying "all right" when they passed you on the street, because New Orleans just didn't feel right anymore.
That's asking a lot for people like not crawfish season and just that whole act. It's a lot to tell people not to be able to do that.
You want to pass by, Mama? I had a big old bucket of crawfish and crabs, little bitty Louisiana crabs and crawfish. And you got to have your occasion. Sucking on them crawfishes and your shrimps and crabs, yeah.
Yeah, breaking bread over mud bugs, sipping on cold beer, everybody elbow to elbow, can't wait for that second batch to come out, right? A little more spicy, and just now, man, it's a different game. You know what I mean? You feel like a lot of work, a lot of mess if you're not around your friends.
You got to have that music. New Orleans is about jazz, music, fun, excitement, laughter, love. And now we can't even touch each other now.
New Orleans is such a bar-driven culture and going-out-driven culture, so there's no real rule book for what do you do when there's nothing to do in NOLA, right? I've never even heard of nothing to do in New Orleans, you know?
We're bummed about Jazz Fest, so it'll be interesting to see what other traditions we have to lose as more and more things like these happen.
I'm not an extrovert, man, but I want human contact, man. I want people watch. The greatest pastime ever been taken away from me.
The entire city was on edge and sensitive. It was tender, as if its skin had been peeled off and exposed. When the sun was out, people were in parks. But at night, the wind blew, a frog chirped, and people sat inside. The homeless held signs up, but there was no one there to read them. But New Orleans wasn't defeated. The Big Easy has a way of defending itself, a way of thriving in spite of all the odds. The culture bearers and creators of New Orleans were already at work on projects to carry the city forward, imagining a time when there would be a second line for the coronavirus and, of course, Corona festivals.
Because I'm ready to hug and kiss and dance and have a good time like all the time. But we just have to be patient.
Watch when this joint ends, bro. It's going to be a Corona second line, it's going to be a Corona festival. I'm going to start that up. Hey, me and Lee going to start that up.
In the end, everyone was experiencing COVID quarantine differently. But it was clear that they all agreed on one thing. New Orleans wasn't going anywhere.
We have come back from Katrina. We have come back. This world has been existing for a long, this has been a long time. And we have been through a lot of stuff. And I think everybody's gonna be all right.
like a hurricane in the past. Everyone can use that as a point of reference before. Now with this, it's such a significant point of reference that I think people will use that and probably even go in harder than they did before.
Man, this ain't gonna last forever. I mean, it may be a little something temporary. I mean, what, 1918 with the Spanish flu. After that, joy, people was partying even hot.
But I'm still here.